Disventure Camp, Total Drama's newest and toughest competitor. This series is now one of the biggest shows on YouTube, with its success exploding in just a few years. While Total Drama is taking its time, Disventure Camp is releasing episode after episode, season after season, and even a new series? So here's the big question. Can Total Drama keep up with their progress, or will the big fish be defeated? The beginning. To better understand the situation, let's go back to when everything started. As many of you know, the first version of the show was actually called Drama Total Aventura. It had a different host, fewer contestants, and also a slightly different storyline. Now, starting an animated series isn't too easy, especially when you don't have a company's big-ass budget. So when the first season came out, it looked only a little better than other fan-made series. But it wasn't just another fan-made series. At the time when the internet was full of tens of Total Drama wannabes, ArtNation Cartoons brought us something different at the perfect time. Because that was the time Total Drama was at one of its lowest points, with Dramarama being its only series that was still releasing new episodes. Now don't get me wrong, Fresh TV was still doing very well financially, Cartoon Network was still paying for new episodes, but its relationship with its fans was going down the drain. So maybe Adventure Camp couldn't compare to Total Drama's animation and audio quality, but it had that something, that sparkle that Total Drama seemed to have lost over time. So the fans started to watch the show and got hooked by its amazing storyline. Everything seemed to be just fine, up until Fresh TV issued 2 copyright strikes against ArtNation Cartoons. You see, something I forgot to mention is that the beta version featured a lot of Total Drama connections. It was already bad for them that they had Chef wandering around, and Ezekiel mentioned during the season. But when Fresh TV saw Chris McLean, that was the last straw. So, after some disputes, the creators from ArtNation Cartoons had to remove the beta version from YouTube. A big loss for Adventure Camp. Or was it though? The Rebirth. You see, by making the creators remove the first season, Fresh TV actually created a greater opportunity, because Adventure Camp had one of the most interesting storylines, characters, and plot twists. Its only flaw was the quality. So now, they had the perfect excuse to erase it and do it all over again, making it reach its full potential. That was truly Disventure Camp's Rebirth. It represented a huge jump in quality, better than both the first 2 seasons, and a huge step for Disventure Camp's identity. The storyline was changed, with no more Total Drama connections, and no more reasons for Fresh TV to demand another erase from YouTube. Yet those things took time, and before this season was uploaded on YouTube, Fresh TV made its comeback with Total Drama Island 2023, the Rivalry. In the time that followed, some fans, including me, started to compare Disventure Camp Season 1 with Total Drama Island 2023. It's crazy to think about, since one is a big and experienced company, while the other is a small team that started from zero. This is an important detail. Over time, Fresh TV's financial resources didn't change much. However, after ArtNation Cartoons added Patreon and grew more popular, their resources increased drastically, which is evident in the production quality. This raises the question, if they could compete with Total Drama when they had less money, doesn't that mean they might beat it over time as their financial resources grow? Well, that's not for sure, because no one can predict it just by looking at one metric. Let's not forget that even if right now Disventure Camp and Total Drama seem to be in direct competition, they actually play a different game. You see, the fact that Total Drama is made by a big cartoon company is both an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time. They might have money, connections, and streaming contracts, but they also have to please the streaming companies. Every idea must be discussed with a bunch of people, run through some filters, presented to the partners, and sometimes even molded according to the streaming company's wishes. A good example is Dramarama, which was created because Cartoon Network didn't want any more competition episodes. Instead, it wanted something for younger kids. Imagine doing a group project with your classmates and then change it according to what someone from outside the class wants. On the other hand, ArtNation Cartoons has a smaller writing team that can do its job without bureaucracy. They're not just some high-paid employees. They're other Total Drama fans, just like us. The whole thing started because the fans wanted to see more content like Total Drama Island, But Disventure Camp still had its flaws. Terry McGurran, the executive producer of Total Drama, revealed how Disventure Camp used a lot of designs that weren't theirs. For example, Hunter's boots, Drew's hair, Disventure Camp's sign, and even the tree and nature designs. As Terry said in one of his tweets, they saved themselves a lot of time and money by borrowing those design elements. Now, the opinions are pretty divided regarding this subject, since some fans think that Fresh TV shouldn't intervene with Odd Nation Cartoons' work, while others think that they should even sue them. I'm somewhere in between, because I think that neither Fresh TV nor Odd Nation Cartoons is completely right. Yet at the end of the day, this conflict doesn't even matter, because Fresh TV doesn't have enough reasons to take Disventure Camp down from YouTube. But what's not irrelevant is how Disventure Camp seems to get closer to Total Drama in the race for the fans' interest. The Takeover. Total Drama announced the new season in February 2021, so they have probably been working on it since late 2020. It basically took them more than 3 years to create 2 seasons, one that's good and one that's not, while Disventure Camp made 3 awesome seasons, 4 if we count the beta version, in less than 3 years. Now I say it's time for Total Drama to lock in and start playing the game more seriously. Just think about the fact that when you go on places like Total Drama subreddits, half of the posts are about Disventure Camp, or used to be until the limitations. Things only seem to get better and better, with All Stars being by far the best quality season, and more fans supporting their Patreon. Also, they added greeting messages. Caught in a bad romance. Which not only made the fans more invested in the show, but also offered the creators more financial resources. Yet, Odd Nation Cartoons' story didn't seem to end only with Disventure Camp, because the creators are apparently involved in the development of another YouTube series called Reality Resort, which will be released on a channel called The Reality Project. Reality Resort will be the first season of the first Reality Gauntlet. You probably have no idea what this is, so let me explain. Well, according to the producer of the show, there will be 4 connected shows: Reality Resort, Reality Race, Reality Ranch, and Reality Royalty. After each one of these shows finishes airing their first season, a new cycle will follow. The first 3 series will get their own cast, while Royalty will be more like an all-stars season. In each of the 3 first seasons, the contestants will compete not only for the big prize, but also for legacy points, which they need in order to be selected for the Royalty season. So, if they have enough time to get involved in the creation of another show, I'm sure that the producers from Odd Nation Cartoons have already started to work on future Disventure Camp seasons. Yet although DC's success seems to be skyrocketing, let's not forget that Total Drama is still the big fish here. The reboot had lots of views when it was leaked on YouTube, and even made 111,000 views on Cartoon Network. 111,000 views probably sounds like rookie numbers compared to the views DC gets on every episode, yet considering that these days only just over 200,000 people regularly watch or own cable in America, I would say that it was received pretty well. The conclusion. Although Disventure Camp is now one of the best YouTube series out there, it's important to remember that the series still began with Total Drama, and even with Disventure Camp's performance in the last few months, I think it's going to be hard to create a season like World Tour or Island, yet they seem to have a great road ahead of them, and I'm going to follow their evolution closely. There it is, guys. What are your thoughts on Disventure Camp? What do you think about their story? Make sure to tell me in the comments. Take care and see you next time with a brand new video.